for this session. I am your host again. I am Ahad. I'm the part of GDG Cloud Islamabad, as well as also serving as a Google ambassador for my campus. Yes, so I'm Ahad. Moving forward, talking about, I would like to give you a short, brief introduction of GDG Cloud and Ramadan Skill Drive. Introduction. So, what is Google Developer Group's Cloud Islamabad? So basically, Google Developer Group Cloud Islamabad is a cloud-based chapter, a community, a volunteer community in Pakistan. We are a local communities for the developer who are interested in resources and technologies from Google. We are the first GDG cloud chapter that was established in Pakistan. We were actually established in 2019, and we have been um, serving as a community from past 6 years. Basically, our aim is to hold events and workshops, also some panel discussions, some coding sessions, especially that are related to Google Cloud technologies. And our main focus is building a community. And basically, we are more promoting the technologies of cloud and Google. Other than this, if we talk about some snapshots since 2019, these are some of our achievements that we have did in 6 years. We have successfully conducted around 35 plus successful events, which were the flagship events. Other than this, we had 50 plus technical workshops, also non-technical workshops. Here are some numbers that we have targeted since we have been established. We also have our Women Tech Makers session that are specifically for the women's. And the good thing is that we have been we have achieved the 75% of female attendees in our past sessions. Here are some images that are from our past events. Here we have a Women Tech Maker session that we have every year. We also have panel discussion. We have code labs. Also, we from the previous year we have been starting working on Build with AI sessions that was started in the previous year. We had four different Build with AI session last year, and we are also going to have it this year as well, and we will be starting for it in from 12th of April. So those guys who are interested in it, make sure you guys stay stick to our social media platforms. You guys will be updated with everything on our social media. Other than this, this is the Deaf Fest of 2023. We hosted the biggest Deaf Fest of Pakistan in 2023, in which we hosted around 1,300 plus active members, on-site members, in 2023. Moving forward, talking about the Ramadan Skill Drive. So, what is Skill Drive? So, basically, Ramadan Skill Drive is a virtual learning initiative that is designed to help the individuals so they can enhance their technical and professional skills during the Ramadan. So, basically, our main focus is through I'm sorry, through these interactive online workshops that are led by industry experts, and participants can gain hands-on experience in various tech domains. Other than this, why we started it? Obviously, our first goal was a skill development. In the skill development, basically, the participants can equip the skill in their particular domain. They can enhance their technical skills, especially in the cloud technologies. Secondly, obviously, a career growth. We are providing the certificates for this session that can add value to your resumes and improve your job perspective. And last, obviously, a community and collaboration. Through these interactive session, you guys can interact with different people of different domains. Either they can be students, they can be professionals, and you guys can build a good connections through these sessions. Um, Other than this, these are some snapshots from Ramadan Skill Drive. So these are the sessions that we have conducted in the previous weeks. We also had some technical session, also some non-technical sessions with different speakers. Other than this, I would request all of you guys to follow us on our social to get yourself updated with our new events and activities. We have also attached our official email. You guys can reach out to us through these emails for in case of any query or any confusion. I have attached the link tree, which on which are all of the socials are attached. So you guys can scan this link tree, and you will be shifted towards our social media accounts. Make sure to follow us on our social media accounts. Now I would like to shift towards our speaker, who is Mr. Sohaib Younis, who will be explaining the AI using Google tools and platform. So yes, over to you, Mr. Sohaib.
Thank you. Can I share my screen?
Yeah, sure, you can share it.
Okay, thank you, everyone. So let me just introduce briefly today's topic. Many of you all already know the term AI, deep learning, machine learning, but maybe this is something new for you. Explainable AI. So I will explain it a bit later, but let's introduce myself. So I'm currently an assistant professor in NUST, and I just did my PhD last year in deep learning. So with that, I have a little background in explainable AI, especially in machine learning. So before we start, maybe just a small question, and I expect everyone to answer it. So have you ever experienced an AI-driven recommendation, maybe from Google Maps or an YouTube, that you felt was inaccurate and unfair, but couldn't figure out why? Am I audible? Yeah,
Yes,
and just with
yes.
just write some example or what your was experience was in one or two lines.
So Sohaib, I hope you are seeing the chats. You can
Yes,
interact
yes,
with audience in the
I
chat
can see the
section.
chat. So everyone is just typing yes, but maybe a little bit more explanation, like which app or what application you were using, just a few words, so that we can roll this conversation ahead. Okay, one with Google Maps, Google News. Well, news is subjective, so I can't say about that. So we have some explanation, some examples, mostly from Google Maps, I think, because that's the most widely used app. So again, I have this poll based on the Google Maps since most of you answered Google Maps. So if Google Maps told you to avoid a certain route or just take a detour without giving any explanation, or maybe just gave it on your map, so what option would you choose? Because A, B, or C? Well, so nobody cares about any clear reason so far. Just two. So this is what explainable AI is. So an AI gives you a decision, but you don't trust it completely. Some of you do, as you have seen before. Some of you say that it depends, but some of you are skeptical. So some of you want some clear reason why AI gives you a specific decision. So this is what explainable AI is. But before I give you definition, so now you have some background. So explainable AI is not just a field, it's there are also many tools behind it. Some I will show you with some demo. So any technique tool that gives an AI model some transparency or just gives you shows you how a specific decision was made is explainable AI. So unlike traditional black box approaches, so maybe you can think of it as black box. Is ChatGPT is black box since you cannot really it cannot really explain how it came to that specific decision, but many small models are explainable. I will go through some details later, but why is explainable AI important? So in the previous example, some of you didn't trust that decision made by AI because you wanted more explanation. So beside trust, in many explanation, sorry, in many applications, it explainable AI is required for fairness or accountability. For example, in self-driving car, if AI made a decision that led to an accident, who is accountable? Is it the AI that is accountable, who's or the engineer that or the developer that made the system? So this all is the domain of explainable AI. So in another example, for example, if a doctor gave a diagnosis that a patient has diabetes without giving any specific reasons, is that more acceptable? Or if the doctor gave you that because of these reasons, these indicators, the patient has diabetes, that doctor is more trusted? This is just a generic example. So another question. So any decision made by AI product or service that you use daily and you wonder why that specific decision was made. So the previous one was, did you trust the poll? But here you want to know why. You're just curious. Any answers so far? So just yeah, Gemini prompt replies. So this is an example. Like if LLM gave you an answer, why that specific answer? Anything else? Anyone? Yeah, just do some brainstorming and give me an example. Yes, ChatGPT, similar. The LLM, Meta, another LLM. I think, yeah, maybe most of you have experience with LLM, so that's why you're giving these examples. So the reason why a specific decision was made is not just particular in some cases like LLM, it's also uh, particular in many domains like finance, healthcare, hiring, and consumer apps. So, for example, in finance, uh, if a loan application was rejected based on an automated or AI system, you want to know why your application was rejected. So if the bank does not give you any reason, or one bank doesn't give you any reason, but other one bank gives you a reason, this is the reason why your application was rejected. So that the second bank would be more trusted more by the people. Similarly, in healthcare, in hiring. So in hiring, especially AI was used a lot. It's also used recently, but earlier it was a black box. People application was rejected or accepted without any specific reason. So that also led to many all uh, lawsuits also. And also like consumer apps like Google Maps, like or YouTube. Why did you get a specific recommendation video, or why a specific route was selected by an AI? So that's all the questions that are addressed by explainable AI. So before I progress, any questions, any queries, or what is Google explainable AI so far? Because uh, from now on, I will just go through some uh, importance of AI. So any questions so far? Nibra, can you please explain the question based on our previous interaction? Google Maps has some AI for path planning. It's not pure AI, but has some AI for path planning. Yes, so especially like not just in YouTube, also in websites like Amazon, you get recommendations based on your previous purchases or the products you see. That those are recommendation systems. So that's also an example. Any other example or any other question about explainable AI, or is it a bit new for you this term? Yeah, okay. So I think it's very new. So I think most of the people these days, especially students, you are spending a lot of time in learning how to build or develop AI systems. But once you develop it or and you deploy it, these things matter a lot. That is the AI model trustable? Is it explainable? So that's also what a developer needs to keep in mind. Okay, maybe let's go through some importance. So earlier I just gave you an example why AI, explainable AI is important. So one aspect is it gives a lot of trust once you know why a specific decision by AI was made. So for example, uh, in recently in Google Maps, if it gives you a detour, it can show you especially that there is a uh, blockage or traffic jam or something like that. So it is giving you a reason why it is selecting a new route. So this increases trust in a specific app or in a AI system. And also in YouTube, if it gives you recommendations and tells you why based on your previous view history, then it also gives you a trust that recommendations are trustworthy because these are based on my previous interactions. So, as I gave you an example, and also that was discussed in chat. So, YouTube recommendations, especially when it recommends you to watch a specific video or a category of video, and it also gives you why it made that recommendation. So, this gives you more trust in that system. So, also explainable AI can increase fairness. So, if this is a poll. So, if a company's AI hiring system rejects your job application, would a simple what explanation would you expect? So A, B, or C, and maybe some detail why you selected that option. B. Yes, we all want some feedback, especially when we get rejected. Yes, B is more expressive. So simple A not selected, it's so you don't get any feedback why your application was rejected. And C is just personal preference. And so most, I think all of you selected B because you want to know what specific reason there was why your application was rejected. So this also increases fairness because you on also accountability because fairness because you know that due to a specific skill you are being rejected not because some kind of bias in the company hiring policy. So in a way it reveals hidden biases. So if the company is just rejecting females without telling anyone why they are rejecting them, but if they are answerable that why a specific applicant is rejected, so then they have to tell you exactly that because of these skills they are being rejected. uh, so so there is also a real life example. So previously there was an AI hiring tool that was trained on historical data, and historically more males have been working in companies than females, so it just selected more males applicants since its training data was biased. So that's also an example. So even if your training data is biased, still you have to make the model fair. So that's also an example. So this was revealed by explaining why a specific decision was made by a model. So this increased fairness in that model. So earlier I also said that with explainability, you can also make an model accountable. So, especially with transparent decisions, you know exactly why a specific decision is being made, and there is no human bias, or is it the model or the man behind the model or the developer behind the model that is making that exact decision. So you can hold anyone specific accountable for a specific decision. So one example of it is, for example, if an AI mistakenly flags a healthy patient as high risk. And yes, with it can also avoid hallucinations. So if especially it's also very important in medical AI. You need to know why a specific decision was made by an AI, and even for example, you may know about false positive, false negative. So if a patient uh, that is healthy is flagged as high risk, that's also a mistake. So you want to know why a specific decision was made and how to correct it. So you're also holding a model accountable, not just the person who developed it or the doctors who trained it. So you can uh, hold everyone accountable. So here AI can also be held accountable. And this last one is specific to the developers mostly. So sometimes while developing a model, you're getting some bugs, or the output is not as you expect it to be. So if you add some explainability to it, it can also help you with debugging the model. For example, also, this is also a real life example. So a car damage detection system in a factory, so even when there was a clean background or no. So let me explain it in detail. So in the factory, there was a car damage detection system that looked at images of cars, and if behind the car the background was clean, it would just ignore the car and give that this car has no damage, while ignoring the car all so ignoring everything on in the car. So this was a bug in the model. So by detecting or by exactly explaining why a specific decision was made by that model, the developers were able to find the bug in it, and then after the model was debugged, then the car detection AI looked at the features of the car instead of the background. Okay, so maybe any questions from these last few slides, especially how the importance of explainability in AI. So these things that I mentioned are trust, fairness, accountability, and model debugging. There can also be other domains also, but maybe anything else you can think about why explainability is important in AI, especially in developed systems that you are using, or especially with which users are interacting. I mean, besides this, any example that you can think of? Mm, uh, what is FOR system? Maybe I'm not familiar with it. Any other examples? Yes, okay. Mm, okay, since there is not much response, maybe I'll continue with the slides. Okay, so earlier I mentioned black box models. So most of the big deep learning models like ChatGPT, Gemini, these are deep learning models, and they are referred as black box because you cannot exactly see how a specific decision or how a specific output was made. So another pro. So if you have an AI model, maybe you created yourself or you just got an AI model that predicts stock prices with 99% accuracy, but it doesn't tell you why. So would you trust it? So maybe you can just give me an option. Uh, Please answer from this A or B or C, and maybe a few words of explanation why you chose that option. C. So most of you are choosing C. Any specific reason? Okay, one B. So the those who are answering B, those are interested in the logic behind the prediction or why the AI made the specific prediction. And C is just simple being cautious in financial matters, I guess. Yes, you want to know the math behind this decision or the logic. So B, especially in high risk situations like financial health, people want to know why a specific decision was made by AI. So that's explainable AI. Okay, so maybe a little bit more explanation about black box models. So most of the big models like deep learning models, LLMs, and complex models, they are black box. But, so they have some advantages and disadvantages. The advantages because they are very big and complex, they can give you high accuracy and they are very powerful and they have a lot of knowledge. For example, in ChatGPT, after it's trained, it it knows about many topics and things. So it has a vast domain of knowledge. But the disadvantages are you do not exactly know why a specific answer or output or decision was made, and you cannot trace that decision through the model. So this reduces the trust in a model. For example, if you use ChatGPT for predicting stock prices, would this be accurate? Maybe, but would you trust it? Well, it depends. You want to know how a specific prediction was made, and again by linking to the previous point. So instead of the black box models, there are also other types of models like explainable AI models. So another poll. So if you have two AI models, both have are giving you the same performance, but one is easier to understand and the other is a black box. Which one would you choose? Well, if it's the accuracy or the performance is same, does it matter? All of you are giving, well, only one no, but most of you are answering as A. Okay, what if I add another option? It depends. So which option would you choose now? A, B, or C? Still A? Okay. Only two of, yeah. Now people are choosing C instead of A, most of you. Okay. Well, the answer is it depends. So, for example, if you don't really care about explanation, if you already know why a specific decision is being made, then it doesn't really matter. But if the explanation or interpretation is very important to the application, then A. Well, there is also explainable CNN models, so that's another topic. Even there is a lot of research being done to make the large language models explainable. So, Ali, the question is not how the models are being made. The real question is how the model is predicting a specific output. The development method or architecture is not really the topic here. The topic here is why a specific prediction or why a group of predictions is being made by the model. So it's independent of how it was being made. Okay, so since I gave a poll about explainable AI models earlier, the definition is any model whose decision-making process is transparent, or you can track exactly how a specific decision is being made, and or if even if you cannot track it, but any user can understand the process, then it's explainable AI. So most of the explainable AI models are unfortunately smaller models, for example, decision trees, linear models, or simpler models. If as soon as the model becomes complex, then it becomes into the category of black box models because then it becomes a bit harder to explain them. So it also has some advantages and disadvantages. So the advantages is It's clear that it's easy to validate. You can trust it because it's transparent. But the disadvantages are most of the explainable AI models are small, so they are relatively less accurate than the complex or bigger models. So another poll. Ali, I will come back to your question maybe after this poll. Uh, okay, so there is another poll. So there are two doctors. One just gives you a simple prescription, and the other explains you why gives you an explanation, and then gives you a prescription. So let's imagine these are the two doctors. So one doctor A just gives you a prescription and then doesn't give you an explanation. So this is like a black box AI. And the other doctor gives you explanation that based on these symptoms or uh, these reasons, you, these medication is being prescribed. So this is an explainable AI. So this is just an analogy based on real life. I think most of you chose A. Nobody wants to take risk based from on your health, especially. So even if you trust a doctor, would you still choose B? So even if there is the doctor is you trust the doctor, okay, still B, I guess. Okay then. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, maybe there was a question. Maybe let's take a break for questions. In the meantime, I will read the question from Ali, and if anyone else wants to ask any questions, please go ahead. Uh, yes, so Ali, you are right. So sometimes you need to modify the model to make it explainable, or add something or modify it. So that's also a research area, or that's also something a developer needs to keep in mind. So explainable AI is not exact as any specific type of model. It's just I'll show you some techniques later for simple models, but for complex models, it's just still an active area of research. So that involves a lot of mathematics. But for simple machine learning models, explainable AIs can be done very simply. There are also some libraries in Python. I will show you later. So any other questions specific related to explainable AI or anything else before we move on? Okay, let's move on then. So these are the some real world applications of explainable AI. I think I also went through similar earlier. So in finance specifically, your if the bank is making a decision or a financial institution is making a decision. So for example, if a person is getting low credit score, with explainable AI, it increases the trust in that institute, and specifically there are also new laws in Europe specifically that are are making explainable AI compulsory in these high risk finance, healthcare, and these kind of sectors. So, question from you. So the reason we are trying to achieve transparency is want to know why a specific decision is made, so that we want to know, is it transparent, is it fair, is the specific decision biased or not for specific. So let me just give you an example from finance. So if a person is getting low credit scores after year by year, but it doesn't really know why. So if the model that is making that decision if that model has some attributes that gives explanation why without decision. So this attributes or these explanation can help that person understand why their credit score is becoming lower, or why their uh, or anything else. For or another application is in autonomous vehicles. So maybe you have heard that many vehicles from Tesla have been involved in accidents. So who do you hold accountable? Is it the AI model that made the mistake, or was the developer that made the mistake in coding? So if- uh, each decision made by AI also has a log or has an explanation why that specific decision was made. So this gives autonomous AI transparency and accountability. So also gave the example of HR recruitment earlier, especially for hiring. So hiring needs a lot of transparency, and because historically the AI models that were used for recruitment were biased towards males, and also other types of skills. For example, higher education was biased instead of the skill-based workers. And also, there's also an example in criminal justice. It's also a really big case study that, uh, yes, human in the loop is similar, but I will explain later. Yeah, so in criminal justice system, I think there was a case in USA that a decision for a court was made by using AI, but uh, but after some analysis, it was a biased decision. So also with explainable AI, that model was made unbiased. So in also in criminal justice, the AI models needs to be explainable. So the human in the loop is something else. So human in the loop is just keeping a check on the model that whether the model is making some high risk decision or not. But for the human to be in the loop, the human needs some uh, factors or explanations from the AI models also. For example, you cannot keep a human in the loop in ChatGPT mostly, because as soon as you give a prompt to the ChatGPT or Gemini, it gives you an output. So you can audit those outputs or prompts later, but there is no human in the loop in this case. So besides this, why do we exactly need explainable AI? So as I said earlier, so in order to reduce unfair outcomes, sorry, from AI models or unsafe systems, for example, in automated cars, or unethical decisions, which could be in justice system or financial institutes. So for these reasons, we need explainable AIs so that we can understand why a specific decision was made, especially in high risk situations. So any other situation or example you can think of why we need explainable AI, now that you know more about explainable AI? Yes. So, based on since AI is becoming involved in many decisions in healthcare and also in criminal justice system, so there are new laws in European Union that are specific to these, that AI systems need to be explainable, and they need to be transparent, since AI is involved in many decisions that were previously made by humans. Okay, so now that you know more about explainable AI, why it's necessary, so the question is, how is Google doing its part in explainable AI? Or especially, how is it using explainable AI to make the systems fair, transparent, and accountable? And specifically, which sectors or which areas it is focusing on? So the first thing is social benefit because since Google has a lot of data, it, it uses its AI. So there are also many open source models from AI also. So it, it tries to improve lives. So healthcare, security, and using explainable AI. So also I can think of spam detection model that can avoid bias. So any type of model that can have some kind of bias. So if AI or explainable AI is added to it, it can help you avoid bias. So Google is also working on those. And there are also many models that are used in high risk situations, in, for example, in financial, healthcare. So those systems also need to be safe. And since Google's also working in autonomous cars sectors, or and also other criminal justice cases, since Google has a lot of data on people. So if it gives access of to that data to police or law enforcement agency, it also needs to be held accountable for that decision. But uh, above all, it wants to protect the privacy. So there's a really big comment. Yes. So these are the principles on which Google is working on using explainable AI to promote fairness, transparency, and accountability in its models. So I will need some time to read this comment. Yes, so in this workshop, I also wanted to add Vertex AI, BigQuery ML, but then it became a bit more complex. So this workshop or talk is only involves Colab uh, models and explainable AI on some machine learning models. I will move to it in a few slides. Thank you for this comment, Hassan. So before I move to the collab for the demo, let me just give you three techniques for explainable AI or tools. So the first one is LIME or local interpretable model agnostic explanations. You don't need to go into detail exactly what it does. So maybe I can just give you a few points. So with LIME, so LAM is usually used in machine learning models that are a bit simpler or a bit more complex. It can also be used in models that are complex. So what it does is for a specific output or specific data point, it gives you an explanation or why for that data point a specific decision was made. It will become more clear in the Colab notebook, but it needs a bit explanation right now. So I will go through three tools. So first is Lime. So Lime gives local interpretable model. So local means for one data point only. The other one is Shape. So this can give you local and global also. So local means for one data point and global means for the whole data set. So later I will go through a whole data set. So Shape can gives you explanation based on one specific data point or also the whole data set also. And since it can give you explanation on the whole data set, it's also used a lot in industries, in healthcare and financial especially. So the data set I will go through is diabetes data set on which it is used. And the last one is permutation importance. So this tools just shuffles the features and tries to predict how by just shuffling each feature the accuracy is changed for the model. So by just making those observations, it can give you which features are more important than others. So this is the uh, data set I will go through. So it's a diabetes data set, and I will use just a simple machine learning model to predict whether a patient has diabetes or not based on some features. So the goal is to make the model interpretable using on this data set. So I will just share the link for the Colab notebook. So the question is, how can we formulate fairness? So the fairness is pretty subjective. So if you want to hire based on merit, so the fairness is that uh, anyone who qualifies is accepted. But unfair would be to just also accept applicants who do not qualify. So that's one metric. So it depends on your application on the metrics. So if you want to hire 50% male, 50% female, so then fairness would be to hire applicants, half of them would be male, half of them would be female. But if this is your metric, but then you start hiring with merit, then this metric could be changed. So if you want to hire with merit, and also 50% male, 50% female, then fairness becomes more complicated since you have two features to go through. So it depends on your use case specifically. So fairness is a bit subjective. So I've shared the link for the collab. Please, everyone, just open this notebook, and you can just run, run it all. So it doesn't really matter. So I will share my notebook now. Okay, I'll just give you a few minutes so that you can open the notebook. So once you open the Collab notebook, just click Run All. Maybe I'll just wait a few minutes. Okay, so let's start with the notebook. So in this notebook, I will go through the diabetes dataset and train a small model on it. So in this dataset, each record has sorry, some features or some values for these parameters. So pregnancies, glucose. So these are the readings for each record, and based on those readings or features, a prediction is made whether the patient is diabetic or non-diabetic. So you can just ignore the code till here. So this is just a brief overview of the dataset. So for the first five records, it gives you the readings and the outcome. So one is diabetic, and sorry, yeah, one is diabetic and zero is non-diabetic based on these features or readings. So first we will just train a small machine learning model on it, and then we will try to explain that model. So first, just split the data set and train a random forest classifier. So random forest is one of the most simpler machine learning models. What it does is just make a decision tree. So decision tree could be that whether this value is greater than something or less than something, and then if yes, then make that decision, otherwise make the other decision. So it's just a mixture of many decision trees or flow chart. So you don't need to go into detail about how it's done, since that's not the topic of today's talk. So once we train the model, it gives us an accuracy of 72%. It's not a lot since we are using a very small random forest model, so that's not really important here. What we want to know is how exactly each prediction is made. So our talk starts from here. So the first tool that you will use is LIME, or local interpretable model agnostic explanations. So what it does is for one reading or one record, because it's a local tool, it changes slightly changes the readings for reading. So let me just give you an example. So for example, it's it selects this reading or this record and slightly changes the value of each feature. For example, 6.1, 5.9, 14.8, 72.1 or 71.9. So just by slightly changing each value, it observes whether the outcome is changed or not. So this, just by doing this, it can observe. So maybe just let's go through this reading. So it just selected one specific reading or record. These are the values of the each feature. So by just slightly changing each feature, it can give us a probability. So for this specific record, the probability of diabetic is 53% and non-diabetic is 43%. And these features are weighting towards being diabetic, and these features are weighting towards non-diabetic. So this tool gives us an explanation on one record. So since it's local, so if you want to focus on one record specifically, why for this record the model made a specific decision. So by using this tool, it can give you a plot or a graph that for these specific features contributed the decision towards being diabetic, and these contribute towards being non-diabetic. Since these have more weightage, the final outcome was diabetic. So just go through, you don't need to look at the code, just these tables and figures are more important. So just go through this briefly, take your time, and then if you have any questions, just let me know before we go to the next two. So in other way, it's explaining why a specific decision was made by the model, and which features were more important to that decision. Okay. Any questions? It's not getting too boring, is it? Just let me know. And I would also encourage you to go through your notebook yourself also. Okay, since there is not any question, let's go.
Uh, okay, so I think people were typing. We will be getting a question. So there is a question how we are using Lime.
Okay, so okay. So I didn't want to go into detail about the code since this can be done with any large language models, and this is a bit more technical. What I want to focus more is this part, the output given by line, so explainability part. So if you want to use Lime, there is a library here. Yeah, there is a library in Python. You can just use it and also go through some documentation. It's not very difficult. And what, there it is. Yeah. So if you just want to use it, there are also many types of plots you can make using this library. So I just chose this plot. So you just give it one data point, and for that instance or for that data point and the model, it it can give you the features that are more important. So here I just chose the 5 features. You can also change that. So I so this is the more important part. To the explainable that was defined earlier. So this is the line explainable. I'm just giving it one data point or instance, the model that was trained, and the number of features that, or the top features that are most influential to that decision. I can also change it to 3, and then it will just give me three features that were most influential to that decision. So I would also recommend it to just modify and some things, try other instances of other records and see how your features or explanations vary. Okay, let's go to the next one. So Shape is another tool that gives both local and global explanations. So local means for on one record and global means on the whole data set. So first, I gave it to the model that on which I want to want the explanations, and then the data set. So for one single instance or for one record, where it is, yeah, it's giving me which feature is contributing positively and which feature is contributing negatively. So this depends on the data set and model. Sometimes shape is more expressive and sometimes lime is gives you better features. So it depends on the data set and model. So in this case, lime is giving me better explanations than shape. So it depends on the model and explanation. So you have to try different variations sometimes. This is also for one instance. So the question is, can you optimize nine number samples? Unfortunately, Lime gives only uh, explanations for one sample only. If you want to test on more than one samples, Shape is a better tool for it. So what you can do is get explanations for each sample individually and then compare those explanations. So what is most interesting about this tool is the global explanations or the whole data set. So these is the feature importance on the whole data set of diabetes. So it is giving me, so this is not just for one record, but for the whole data set, it is giving me the importance of each feature. So for predicting whether a patient has diabetes or not, glucose has the highest importance and the lowest one is skin thickness. So just by looking at this, it gives you a very good idea why specific decisions are being made based on the whole data set. But these can vary for each record. So this is a global average on the whole data set, but the local means for each feature or for each record, it can be a bit different or it can have some variations. So this is for the whole data set. And the third technique is permutations, where each combinations or different combinations of features are tried and then the output is observed. So this can also give the importance of which feature is most important. So by using this tool, it's also giving me that the glucose is the most important feature or this gives the highest variation. And the least important is, I think this one. I don't know which one it is. Other than that, it's insulin. Well, it shouldn't be least important, but according to this explanation, insulin is not as important as glucose or blood pressure or skin thickness. So you can also see that in these two explanations, feature importance can be different. So in the previous one, skin thickness was the least important feature, but according to permutation plot, skin thickness is more important than some other features. So each data set, each model, each record gives you different explanations. So this also depends on the use case and what is more important to you. Okay, so Nimra, can you please explain these terms like tree exp or RF reg? Okay, so if you want to go through some you want to know exactly uh, how these tools are used, you can also go through the details, but I just skip this because this can be a bit more technical. What I wanted to focus were the plots and the explainability part of these tools. So let's get back to the presentation. So beside this, you can also plot random forest also. So there's also a tool in Python with which you can plot the random forest models. So this gives you an explanation at which node, which decision is being made. So that's also another method for explaining a random forest. But if besides random forest, if the model is complex, then these tools are more important. So because random forest is also explainable on its own. Uh, the reason I use random forest is because it's very simple to train. Okay, so we have gone through all this, that why we need explainable AI, but till now there are also some challenges also. So one of the most important one that I discussed earlier, that many simpler models are easy to explain. So you can follow or track how a decision base is being made, but as the model becomes more complex, it becomes very hard to explain the decisions made by that model. And for example, many advanced models like ChatGPT or LLMs, transformers, they have a lot of layers, and it's very hard to to figure out at which layer which decision was made. And also, what's more important about explainable AI is what kind of explainability is required by the end user. So if you give the plots that I showed earlier to an end user, that may not have a lot of understanding, or they may not mean much to them. So also you need to refine or make explainability so that it's understandable by end user. And also, if you want to incorporate explainable AI in re developed or deployed models, it can computationally slow them down, because that's it requires a lot of computation on top of their own job or what they are designed for. So adding explainability to a model can add exponential computational cost to it. Okay, so besides the future challenges, so there was one comment that since AI is being used a lot, explainable AI is becoming important. So that's also the future of explainable AI. And besides this, there is also a lot of growing legal requirements, especially in EU, that many AI models, critical AI models, especially in driving, healthcare, financial systems, need to have some kind of explainability or transparency in it. And many industries are looking to integrate explainable AI in their AI tools, or they want to shift towards AI models that are more explainable. So this is called shift to glass box model. So earlier I discussed a black box model. So a model that is explainable is also a glass box model because you can look through it. Well, yeah, that's all from my side. And yeah, that concludes my presentation. Any question, or maybe just a question? So, what was the most interesting thing, or what you thought was something you didn't know earlier? Just your opinion. Yes, you can add explainability to CNNs also. It's there are many methods. So one is at each layer, you it shows you which features it is focusing on. So it uses a mix of gradients and features, but it's more computationally expensive. So um, my question is, from all of you, anything that you thought you didn't know about earlier, anything you learned new, and Since explainable AI is maybe is new to most of you, anything interesting that you found in this talk, or anything you would want to know more in the future? Okay, thank you, Yumna. Yes, I would encourage also to go through the Colab notebook, try some variations, and see how the model is being made explainable for local and global uh, predictions. And also look through some other explainable AI tools also. So Lime and Shape are the most simple one. Mm, maybe let's wait a few more minutes for the questions and then I will give
Okay, so Sohaib, meanwhile you are taking the question, can I share my screen for the certificate stuff because people are also waiting for that.
yeah.
So meanwhile आप अपने questions ले लीजिएगा. I will be sharing the screen for the certificates साथ साथ. ठीक है.
I'm really glad to know, Nimra, that something that piqued your interest. Uh, can you give me a bit more context, Muhammad Mustafa? What others do you mean? Yes, there are also some other methods also, but since they required some mathematical background, so I didn't go through them. Also didn't go through the Lime and Shape implementation also, but since they are a bit easier to understand and visualize, other methods are also a bit difficult to understand through visualization. So one method is if you want to make the CNNs, for example, VGG network and explainable, so you go through. There is a gradient approach and then there is a features approach, so it's a bit complex, so but these are just to give you an introduction to explainable AI, these two methods. And adding explainability to transformers like large language models also actively being researched. So there are a few methods, but they're not really good yet, but it's also being researched. Mm, what else? Yeah, so as soon as the model becomes deeper, it becomes more complex. So that's why I didn't go through those. Any other questions?
Okay, so I'm expecting that you have to call the questions.
Well,
Okay.
most of the questions have been already asked. These are just an open-ended question. Anything that piques your interest, anything you want to know more. That's why I'm asking these questions.
Okay.
And
So I have
yeah,
also
please go
shared
ahead.
my screen. I have also shared my screen. The people who have attended this whole session, they can scan the QR code and they will be redirected to our Google form. They can fill out that form for their certificate of this session. Make sure to enter your reference ID. Without reference ID, no certificate will be issued. And we will be closing this form in 5 to 10 minutes to make sure that you all fill out this. And other than this, again, it was an incredible session, Sohaib, and we really enjoyed it. And I hope our audience also enjoyed it.
I
Okay, so
think it was a bit break from those regular sessions as well.
mm, so what? So someone is asking what is the reference ID in the certificate form. So Yumna, the reference ID is mentioned below the QR code. Okay, so people, I will be closing the form. I hope all of you guys have filled for it. If someone is left, they can tell us in the chat. Okay, so I think people are done with people are done with it. Okay, someone is saying please wait. Okay, sure. Can we have more section on explainable AI? Yes, sure, we can have it. It totally depends upon Sohaib if
Yeah,
he
sure.
has the availability.
We can go a bit more detail in the next session.
Yumna, yes, we previously conducted a session on design and UI UX. You can see our YouTube channel. All of the sessions are uploaded there. This session will be also uploaded there. Okay, so I think it's a question for you. Can we have one in which we implement it with LLMs and neutral network?
So I can try with neural networks like deep neural networks, fully connected CNN, but with LLMs it's a bit complex. So LLMs is a bit difficult, but neural networks I can definitely try.
Okay, so I hope everyone has filled the form with the certificates, and I'm expecting that you guys enjoyed this session. Make sure to leave your remarks in the chats in the about this session, and inshallah we will be having the further sessions as well. And I would like to thank for speaker Mr. Sohaib for conducting this amazing session. We really enjoyed it, and the audience was really engaged. That's quite good. So yes, see you soon, everyone. Also, this was the last session for Ramadan Skill Drive, and I really wanted to thanks all the audience that were regular throughout the sessions. And inshallah, we are working on it, and inshallah, we will plan another series for you guys. And mostly there will be virtual as well. But other than this, I would like to announce that we are going to have a series of build with AI that will be on site. That will be there will be physical session. We will have around 4 to 5 different events on build with AI on in different companies at different venues. So make sure you guys stick to our social media accounts, and you will be getting all the updates there. Moving forward, thank you so much everyone for joining the session. Thank you so much for Abe. And
Thank
that's it. Thank you so much. Allah Hafiz, everyone. Take care.